I'm Dustin Cormier, and this is the How to Rock Astrology audio series. The information in this recording is copyrighted by Dustin Cormier, 2015, all rights reserved, except where noted in the recording. The following information on ascendant or rising signs comes from Stephen Arroyo's Chart Interpretation Handbook, copyrighted in 1989 by Stephen Arroyo, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. I do not own the following content. Guidelines to interpreting the ascendant. Although the ascendant is of deep and pervasive importance for each individual, there is no denying that it must be related to the rest of the chart, and especially to the sun sign, in order to understand it thoroughly for a particular person. The sun, after all, is the core identity, the very center of the consciousness, the way we assimilate much of our experience, whereas the ascendant, although it varies in importance from person to person, is not as central to the person's nature. It shows, among other things, the approach to life, but the sun shows life itself. The ascendant must serve the purposes, values, and creative goals of the sun for the individual to function happily and fully. A useful tool for understanding how a person's ascendant and sun sign interact is to compare the elements of the two factors. For example, a Cancer sun sign person with a fire sign rising is usually far more extroverted, forcefully expressive, and confident than a Cancer sun individual with, say, a more conservative, self-protective earth sign rising. For another example, an air sign sun person with a water sign rising may appear much more emotional than he or she really is, whereas a water sign sun person with an air sign rising may appear far more detached and less emotional than he or she really is. It should be pointed out that people are often relatively unaware of their ascendant nature as compared to their sun sign. In that sense, the ascendant is a factor that can be consciously developed further over time and consciously utilized to aid one's self-expression. I've known people who are relieved to find what their rising signs were, since it finally gave them a way of identifying a very deep but only semi-conscious tendency in themselves. In some cases, the qualities and abilities symbolized by the ascendant were just beginning to emerge, and learning the astrological keys to this factor helped personal development greatly. I should emphasize here that perhaps more than with most other factors in the chart, the early environment can encourage or suppress the expression of the ascendant's energies, since it is a primary channel with which one interacts with the outer world. The reader should view the following comparative evaluations as guidelines and as questions to explore, rather than as rigid statements of absolute truth. Virgo Modality or Quadruplicity. The Virgo Modality is mutable, the flexible energy mode. There are exactly 4 of these flexible signs in the zodiac belonging to the mutable modality. These include Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, and Virgo, and they all share similar characteristics. All 4 of these signs exhibit more of an ability to lighten up and go with the flow than the other 8 signs of the zodiac. They're typically more light and lively, and more apt to entertain new ideas, even if they sometimes lack the concentration needed to always get to the bottom line. These flexible signs share the challenge to be more deliberate and focused, to be willing to slow down enough to avoid confusion or miss the point. The element of the ascendant. The element of the ascendant reveals the quality of energy flow directly vitalizing the physical body and the overall approach to life. Fire or air signs rising tend to conduct energy, encouraging active self-expression and dynamic expenditure of energy. Earth or water rising signs tend to conserve and resist the flow of vital energies, and hence indicate self-containment, sometimes self-repression, and the tendency of living within oneself. Earth signs rising: Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. A matter-of-fact outlook. Focus on the material world and conservative attitudes can inhibit imagination, which is then allowed to limit the person's options and/or restrain spontaneous self-expression. Steadiness and reliability are often well developed and highly valued by self and others. Practicality and inborn patience give more tolerance for routine than other ascendants show. A systematic approach, usually along established channels, is the most common method of expressing oneself. Virgo Ascendant or Virgo Rising. Virgo Ascendant people often have a higher level of self-confidence than Virgo Sun people, and oddly enough, their humility often seems more authentic in at least one way. Those with Virgo Ascendant always acknowledge that they have more to learn and further to go to improve themselves. The self-criticism that so often defeats and depresses Virgo Sun people is sometimes, but not nearly so often, found in the Virgo Ascendant. It is as if the Virgo Ascendant more often works off their doubts rather than just dwelling on them. The conservative and conventional qualities found in abundance in Virgo Sun are not nearly so deep-seated in the Virgo Rising person, who may appear aloof, severe, or withdrawn, but whose appearance may hide a much wilder nature. The Virgo Sun person is usually better with detailed analysis than is the Virgo Ascendant, although both often display craftsmanship skills. The following information comes from Isabel Hickey's classic text, Astrology, A Cosmic Science, copyrighted in 1992 by Isabel M. Hickey Trust, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. I do not own the following content. Virgo on the Ascendant. Ingenious, active, and alert mind. Quiet, unassuming, shy in manner. Never crude and coarse in personality. Thoughtful, albeit somewhat self-centered. Always looks 10 years younger than they really are, no matter what their age. This fact often helps to rectify a chart where timing is concerned. Very restless and nervous, so seldom have much weight on them. Practical, analytical, and methodical in all they do. Sometimes indecisive and unsure, especially if Mercury is an immutable sign. Needs to learn to digest every experience and assimilate it without rancor or resentment. Needs to get rid of a negativity that stems from a feeling of inadequacy. Refined in conduct and demeanor. The following information comes from The Secrets of Your Rising Sign by William Lamb with Webb Harris, Jr., copyrighted by William Lamb in 2004, first published in the USA by Fairwinds Press in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I do not own the following content. Almost too aware of the little things, people with Virgo rising fidgeted with their clothing in their grammar school days, toyed with the zippers and buttons, and grew up analytical, nitpicky, and skeptical. Virgo, the worrywart, counts heavily on intellect and is extremely productive. These people love to be helpful, but on a bad day they display an "I just can't handle it, I've been sick" sort of attitude. These folks are blessed with a strong eye for detail, and a natural intelligence equips them to ferret out problems, work out the kinks, and fix what's broken. And they like to think they're smarter than others. They love trickery. It feeds their ego. They'll sometimes use a flippant comment just to extract and analyze a response. Physical type: youthfulness, sometimes a fading chin. Favored colors: navy blue, forest green. The following information comes from Isabel Hickey's Astrology, A Cosmic Science, copyrighted in 1992 by Isabel M. Hickey Trust, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. The significance of the Sun and the Sun sign in astrology. The symbol of the Sun in astrology is a circle with a dot in the middle. This is a very deep occult spiritual symbolism. The circle represents the eternal self that did not start here and does not finish here on earth. The dot in the middle represents the divine spark at the center of every living cell, the light which lighteth every man which cometh into the world. It is the point of light at the center of every living cell. In the blueprint, the sun represents the main expression of the individual, the heart and core of beingness. The sun has a different effect on individuals born at different times of the year. According to the sign and house in which the sun is placed, we are able to judge the general vitality and physique, the qualities of leadership, and the individual's ability to succeed in life. In a personal chart, the sun represents the basic drive for significance, the will, male relationships and female charts, especially with the father, vital energy coming from the etheric levels and prana, fuel on which the total personality operates, urge for power, constitutional strength, and finally, a powerful sun means very great power to do and to be. Keywords of the sun: will, individuality, spirit. The sun is the significator of the spirit in man, the beingness or isness of life. It rules the basic drive for significance, the will to be. Physically, the sun is the sustainer of life, giver of light, heat, and energy. More than anything else in the chart, it shows the will, man's highest expression. Its aspects show deep character traits, the chief ambitions. It needs aspects to the planets for strength of expression in the horoscope. As the sun moves through the signs, its return to the sign of its exaltation, Aries, the eastern horizon, marks the beginning of the astrological year. Springtime brings the release of a new cycle of life. As the sun moves through the houses, its return to the eastern horizon is the beginning of the astrological day, sunrise. The sun sign in its element. The following information comes from Stephen Arroyo's Chart Interpretation Handbook, copyrighted in 1989 by Stephen Arroyo, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. I do not own the following content. The sun sign's element is usually dominant in considering the overall psychology of a person. This is so because the sun sign's element reveals the attunement of one's basic vitality, identity, and power of self-projection, as well as the fundamental quality of his or her consciousness. The element of one's sun sign reveals the basic inner force motivating everything we do. The element of the sun sign also gives insight into how any individual sees life itself and what expectations they have of the life experience. Taurus Sun. Taurus is an earth sign. These are the common characteristics of people born with the sun in earth signs. Basically motivated by material needs and practicality. Recharges energy through working with the physical world, being productive, and feeding the senses. Interpretive guidelines for the sun in Taurus. Vitality is rooted in earthy physical sensations. Needs to be recognized for reliability and ability to produce. Creative expression results in tangible objects or in gathered resources. Takes pride in possessions, assets, and one's own stability. Expression of individuality can be hindered by hesitation and reluctance to change. This final article comes from The Secrets of Your Rising Sign by William Lamb with Webb Harris, Jr., copyrighted by William Lamb in 2004, first published in the USA by Fairwinds Press in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I do not own the following content. Taurus, born early afternoon. Taurus with Virgo rising. These are unassuming, cooperative people with a youthful appearance and a good eye for style and quality in people and things. And they're masters at efficiency and precision. Their Taurus cut the bull teams up with Virgo's keen eye for functionality, equipping them to get things done lickety-split. Both Taurus and Virgo are earth signs, motivated by practicality, so these Taurians actively seek out what's most productive. This is always their best strategy. Virgo possesses a busy mind that enhances Taurus the banker's ability to cut to the chase, so these people do the job with precision, leaving time to spare. As long as they don't get bogged down making mountains out of molehills and losing the forest for the trees. Virgo, the worrywart, is easily sidetracked by analytical pickiness. But the best antidote for Virgo's fussiness is Taurus's keep it simple, stupid mentality. The beast of burden, Taurus, is strong and durable, so Virgo's insecurities should be minimal in this combination. The key here is embodied in Johnny Mercer's popular song, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. Taurians with Virgo rising are often found in vocations that require licensing. They believe in monitoring, but they themselves usually don't need much supervision. Virgo is always the willing worker, and Virgo mitigates Taurus's bullheadedness with a more flexible and intelligent mind. These folks like to exhibit a helpfulness where other Taurians might stomp, stamp, and snort. Virgo's penchant for keeping busy can turn these analytical bankers into humming buzzsaws. Taurians born early afternoon are inclined toward medicine, nutrition, fashion, and all things personal. You might find them selling furniture or pharmaceuticals. With Virgo's head for analysis and Taurus's money sense, they might be teaching economics. With Virgo's love of finery and Taurus's eye for quality, they might be interior decorators, Park Avenue haberdashers, or merchandisers of exquisite jewelry. They love what's stylish, tasteful, and attractive. They might even be virtuoso violinists. There are a great many possibilities, but in any event, these Taurians are infinitely more delicate and precise in their behavior than many other bull in the china shop Taurans.